I'm going to make a series about Star Trek versus Star Wars. And first off, I'm going to start this series off with talking about the Federation and the different empires of the Federation and the technology that I think that they have that would give them an edge over the Empire. The first thing I want to discuss is the Photon Torpedo. So the Photon Torpedo is a physical object that once hit, it's like a small bomb, and it goes off, it creates massive damage in the Star Trek world. One of the things I would like to point out about the Photon Torpedo within the Star Trek world versus the Star Wars Empire is the ships of the Star Wars Empire have two different kinds of shields, which is quite different than the shields that you see in the Federation or in the universe of Star Trek. The universe of Star Trek, the shield is a one purpose does all. But this doesn't happen in the world of Star Wars. Star Wars has 2 or 3 different kinds of shields depending on the ship. But pretty much every ship uses something called a ray shield, which protects them from physical damage. The only thing is the ray shield is on all the time. It protects them from like debris and stuff from hurting the ship when it's moving at high speeds and things of that nature, and also helps to protect them somewhat from weapons that cause physical damage, like torpedoes in the Star Wars universe, or plasma bombs, or mines, or things of that nature, or ships crashing into them, or asteroids. But it's easily overloaded and it's not very strong, or at least this is what's said in the Guide Star Wars Universe book. But they do talk about the energy shields, which is what would stop phasers and things of that nature. What it does is it stops things that are energy based as well as things that are moving at certain speeds. So you have those two different shields, and the ray shield is almost always on, but the shield generators for the Star Wars universe are not, and they take a few minutes to activate. And so typically they also consume a lot of energy, and they cannot stay operational for a long period of time. They have to shut down and come back up. But most ships have multiple shield generators to protect them from this. But what I'm going to point out is that with the ray shield is that it can't take that much damage. So a Photon Torpedo would actually bypass the energy shield that the Star Wars ships use and directly hit the hull, which would only have the weaker ray shield. Now, in my opinion, this would be devastating to the Star Wars ships, because as far as power goes, the output of a Photon Torpedo is far, far, far greater than that of anything that the TIE fighters and X-Wings and TIE bombers use. Next, I'd like to talk about the instant lock and superiority of the phaser compared to ion cannons and proton cannons. The ability to lock onto ships with almost pure accuracy would be a huge advantage over the Empire's very inaccurate cannon blasts, which hardly hit their targets.
Take them by surprise. Let's see what this Galaxy-class Starship can do.
Since Star Trek's weapons have higher yield and power and have almost instant lock, it would devastate the small attack ships of the Empire. Another keynote is it appears that Star Trek's armor, even though the ships are so much smaller, appear to be stronger and will withstand more damage than what you would see within the Empire or the Rebel ships. I'm not exactly sure why this is. It's probably just because of the differences between the cannons of ships, but as you can see, you're going to see this Cardassian ship, which is weaker obviously than the Federation, take some serious damage. So the next to bring my point across is we're going to look at a Federation starship in just a moment. It's going to be one of the weakest of the ships, and you're going to see it literally destroy an entire mountain. Now the ship that you're going to be seeing here in just a moment is not a ship that doesn't even really carry shields. It doesn't even carry torpedoes. It only has phasers, and it's the original Enterprise. Currently right now we're watching the Defiant, a warship blowing things up to pieces. But here we go. Take a look at this. A small mountain destroyed in one shot with the weakest phasers the Federation could carry. I also think transporters would be a huge advantage over the Empire. Being able to transport your troops anywhere you want at any given time, and also being able to transport bombs aboard other ships would be a huge advantage. Being able to replicate your own food and weapons and bombs would also be an advantage over the Empire. Replicators would be a huge advantage, but the number one advantage would be warp speed, a form of instantaneous travel. Would be more effective than the slipstream that the Star Wars Empire uses. You could actually go directly to where you want, the course that you wanted, and the Empire wouldn't be able to follow you or stop you. So this is part one of the video series. We're going to have actually Star Trek versus Star Wars. So these are just some of the weapons that I think that would give the Federation ships an edge over the Empire. My next video will be about the advantages that I think that the Empire has over the Star Trek universe.